Hi and welcome to episode 23 of my little knitting podcast. Here on the channel I update you on all that's happening on my needles at the moment. And on today's agenda we have a lot to talk about. Now I realized I forgot to say my name, so hi, my name is Luisa, but everyone calls me Lu. And as I was saying, on today's agenda I have a colorwork sweater update. Something a little unexpected happened last week, which required a little bit of surgery to fix, but everything is back on track now, hopefully. I also have another sweater WIP to update you on. I'm really excited about this project. There's still a long way to go until I have it done, but I think I'm right on track, which is not the case for my scarf WIP. I mean, everything is going great. I'm just almost done, but not quite yet. But I'm really excited about that also. And on top of all of that, I also want to bring a few old projects back into rotation because I want to fix some issues with sleeve length. There's a hat I want to basically frog and make it again. And now that I'm wearing this wrap today, this is the first time I'm wearing it since I finished it back in November of 2025 or something like that. I can already see that I want to make some changes to it. So let's start with my colorwork sweater, which is the Robinia Sweater by Anne Ventzel. And let me pop it on my mannequin so you can see it properly. So here it is, my Robinia sweater. I've made quite a good progress since last time we talked about this project. This little cherry stitch marker here, progress keeper, shows you guys where I was last time we talked about this project here on the channel. And I finished the body. I am quite happy with the body, with the fit. But before I talk about all of that, let me show you guys the yarns I'm using because I am knitting with quite a few strands. And now that I'm looking at the viewfinder over there, this sweater looks so weird on camera. It looks like a giant rectangle or square, but anyway, it's missing the sleeves, so everybody knows how a sweater in progress looks like. As I was saying, the yarns I'm using for this project, for the beige stripe, let's say, of this sweater, I am using the code for yarn, which is Isager Soft. Where's the name? Here. Isager Soft in the colorway E6S. This lovely medium to light beige. I'm loving this yarn. And for the blue section of this sweater, I'm pairing 3 strands together. The first one is the only one that I'm following the code for yarn, aside from the beige strand. And I'm using Isager Tweed in the colorway Navy. Let me show you without the label so you can see the yarn better. And I am pairing it with Filcolana Saga, which is, I think this is lace weight 100% lamb's wool. Now I'm not so sure if it's lace weight or fingering weight, but something in between. And this is colorway 212. And my final strand is Isager Alpaca 1, which is this one. I just have this ball that I am using for the sweater. I don't have any new balls to show you, but this is the label in case you want to see. Isager Alpaca 1. And this is colorway 100. Wait, here. This is colorway 100. The reason why I'm not following all the code for yarn for all the strands is, well, I wanted to knit without mohair. I love using mohair on my sweaters, but I don't want all my projects to have mohair in them, so I went with 100% lace weight alpaca for this one. And I was also trying to bring the cost down a little bit because if I followed the code for yarn for all the strands, this sweater would be way too expensive for how much I was willing to spend on this sweater right now. So those are the yarns I chose and I am really happy with them. Now let's talk about how this project is going. Let me put my yarn here on the side. So the first issue I encountered last week was the yoke depth, as always. This is always my main point of concern, of issues that I have with the fit of my sweaters. I am starting to think I have a really short torso, or maybe I'm just not following the right proportions for a women's size body. I don't know what happens with me, but yoke depth is always an issue. I don't know how this happened this time because I measured everything. I laid this project on top of a sweater that I really liked the fit of. Everything was looking great. I blocked it before I joined in the round. It was looking great. The fit was supposed to be spot on. And then I joined in the round, knitted until what? Halfway through the body, and I decided to try it on. The armhole depth here, the underarm, was hitting my ribs, which is definitely not my preferred fit, my preferred style for a sweater. I know the sweater is supposed to be quite oversized, and with my iteration of the Robinia sweater, I'm going with around 15 centimeters of positive ease. So I don't really know why my yoke was so deep. Anyway, it was deep and I had to do something to fix it. I knew I wasn't going to like it if I just left it with this really deep yoke. So I decided to do some surgery. I measured everything again. I called my mom and ran through all the math with her to make sure I was thinking the right way. I think I measured everything 3 times, used a lot of stitch markers to pinch basically one repeat out of the yoke and tried it on to see if it was going to work out or not. It was, so I went ahead and did some surgery. I removed an entire pattern repeat of the yoke, front and back, but everything is fine now. All of that to say, I really love the fit now. Everything is working just fine, and I went ahead, finished the body, did some 1x1 twisted rib, which is the code for ribbing for the hem, finished it with an Italian bind off, with a little adaptation for twisted rib, and this is what I have now. Where is my beginning of round? I wanted to show you guys the beginning of round. I think it's here. Because, yes, let me take this off the mannequin so I can show you guys what I mean. This is my beginning of round here. You can see that I carried the white strand on the side of the body. And this is, here is my beginning of round. This little beige drop, let's say, is where I worked my beginning of round. I didn't use a jogless method for my stripes. I just switched colors and started working on a new round. I just want to show you guys this because the stripes are pretty jogless here. This is my beginning of round, and you can see there's no jog. So I was a bit worried with how the switching colors was going to work with the stripes and the color work because I have almost zero experience with color work. But I'm happy to say that everything worked out just fine. Let me put it back on Margot, my mannequin. Now there's one thing I wanted to say about this yarn, this Isager tweed. I have absolutely nothing against this yarn. I have no complaints about it. My issue is I don't think I like tweed yarn. Because can you see the little tweedy bits here? The tweed sections of this yarn are mainly blue, sometimes white, but I think most of the time it's blue. And when I look at that sweater, I can see the light blue tweedy bits here. I don't know if you can see clearly on camera, but here in person, it's pretty easy to spot the tweedy bits, and I'm always trying to take them off because my mind thinks it's lint this sweater is picking up on, and I'm always trying to take them off. So I don't think knitting with tweed yarn is for me. This is my first time and I don't know if I'm really that excited to work on another project with tweed yarn. But like I said, nothing against this yarn. This yarn is pretty amazing. It's knitting up quite well. The only thing that it's making me a little bit worried is I think I'm playing yarn chicken with this tweed yarn, this easier tweed. I always think I'm playing yarn chicken. Well, that's not actually true. I'm terrible at estimating anything, length, time, and anything. I'm terrible at any kind of estimations. So I think I'm playing yarn chicken with this one because I just have this fourth skein and this one that it's currently in use. But here I just have, I think, 20 grams or something. And this yarn comes in 200 meters. I don't know if it's enough to knit up both sleeves because the sleeves are quite roomy, almost like balloon sleeves. So yeah, I don't know if I'm playing yarn chicken or not. I hope I'm wrong again with this assumption, but if I run out of yarn, I still have the two stripes I removed from the yoke of the sweater, so I can frog this and reuse the yarn if it's really that bad of a yarn chicken situation. So I can use these two sections of the sweater and try to avoid buying a fifth skein. I don't know, we'll see next episode if I did in fact run out of yarn or not. The only modification I made to this, at least so far, is I added one repeat of the pattern on either side of the body here under the arm. I cast on more stitches to add an entire repeat to either side because, as always, I am off gauge. At first, I thought I was on gauge or at least close enough, but I'm not. I'm quite off on gauge like I always am. So I had to add a few stitches under the arms to compensate for that and have the bust circumference that I was aiming for, which I do have now, so I really love the fit. I will try it on. I don't know if I already showed you guys the B-roll footage of me trying it on, but if I didn't, it will be on the screen for you guys to see. I'm pretty happy with the body length also. My first idea was to work this last blue section here, this last blue stripe, let's say, with the same width as the other blue stripes on the body, but the body was going to be too short. I didn't want that. I knew I wasn't going to like it, but if I added one entire stripe, one entire repeat of the pattern, it would be too long for my body and my apparently short torso. So what I did here is I have the same width before adding the ribbing, and then the ribbing, the hem here is an extra, I think 6 or so rounds, but I don't think it's that noticeable. I don't think it drags too much attention to this fact, so I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming together. Now I just have to add both sleeves and then it will be done. The only thing I'm not really in love with is the needle size I'm using. I'm knitting with a 6mm needle. To get me closer to gauge, I'm still pretty off, but it's the needle size I need to use to get me at least as close as possible to the pattern gauge. I don't think I'm a fan. I prefer a fingering weight gauge or even a DK. I don't think this what worsted weight gauge is for me. For one project here and there is fine, but when I'm working on this, I can definitely feel that it's not the most comfortable gauge to work on, at least for the way I knit. I definitely prefer a smaller gauge like fingering, sport, or even DK like I was mentioning. But this is my Robinia sweater so far. I'm pretty happy with it. So now let's go to my second sweater WIP update, which requires a little change here. And this is my Afra Sweater by Irene Lin. Before I forget, let me show you guys the yarn I'm using for this. I'm not using the called for yarn, which is Cardiff Cashmere Classic. I'm just using yarn I had in my stash. I have a bunch of this Drops Flora in my stash. This is colorway 07, this medium beige, I would say. I'm loving the color of this sweater, by the way. And this is 65% wool and 35% alpaca. I am loving it. The fabric it is creating is pretty soft. I am looking at the viewfinder over there and oh boy, this project needs a good blocking. It's looking terrible on camera, but I can assure you everything is on track. First of all, last week there was a little candle accident here at home in my craft room, and somehow some candle wax ended up on my sweater. I shared all about it over on Instagram and it was terrible. I couldn't believe when I saw the wax on the sweater. Let me see if I can show you the spot. I think I managed to take it out. It all out, I mean. But there was a little bit of wax here. And I think it's gone. I don't think there's any stain here. I still need to block to make sure it's all gone. And I know there was a big blob of wax here when I started Twisted Rip. Maybe on camera it picks up something different here, a little subtle change in color, but in person I'm not seeing anything. Anyway, an accident happened and I need to block this. There's a line going down here because I frogged my swatch and I used the yarn that I used to knit up my swatch. So there's something here. I need to block this out, but my first worry about this project was the depth of this V-neck. I think it's good. At first, when I tried it on, I will try this on today so you guys can see everything that I'm talking about. But when I first tried it on, I felt like it was maybe too shallow. Maybe where my necklace is here. So I didn't really like that because if a V-neck is too shallow, when I look in the mirror, it feels like it was supposed to be a crew neck situation that is somehow behaving badly and it's now a V-neck. If it's too deep, then it's too much of a cleavage for the way I like to dress. So I'm not really comfortable with a too deep of a V-neck. I like the middle ground. I think this is going great. It needs a good blocking to make sure all the stitches are settled into place. I can see here it needs to block out this little thing that is happening here right next to the V-neck. The stitches here need to relax a little bit. So I still haven't picked up stitches to work on the I-cord around the neck. Once the I-cord is done, then I can have a final idea of how deep this neckline is. But the pattern gives you the neckline circumference and I'm spot on that measurement, so I think everything will be fine. I'm still working on the body. I was hoping to have this body finished in time to record today's episode of the podcast, but I didn't because this is Twisted Rip. It's a pretty small gauge, so the amount of work and hours spent working on the body of this project is too much. This requires too much work. I'm loving it. I'm not complaining about it at all, but it requires a lot of work. So I'm still working on the Twisted Rip here after the lace section of the body. I'm absolutely in love with the look of this sweater. Let me tighten my cable here so you can see everything a little bit better. There's this little twisted rib detail here on the sleeves that it's slowly taking shape, but I am predicting that these sleeves are going to take forever because it's almost 100% twisted rib. I love twisted rib, I love the look of it, I love the process of it, but it's definitely more time consuming than a regular one by one rib if the depth of the V-neck is spot on for my liking, then this sweater is perfect so far. I was worried, as always, that the yoke was going to be maybe too deep, but I don't think it is. I am knitting it according to pattern. I didn't make any modifications to this pattern, at least so far. I think the armhole depth is good for my liking. We'll see. We'll see if it will require some surgery. I so hope it doesn't, because I have no idea how to do surgery on this project because of all the stitches, all the construction going on here at the yoke. There's the saddle shoulder, and then you work straight down to increase for the sleeves, and then you have some sort of raglan situation here, increasing for both sleeves and body. So if this thing requires surgery to shorten the yoke, I have no idea how to do it, so fingers crossed the fit is spot on. I don't know if I already mentioned that, but I know I already mentioned in previous videos, but I don't know if I mentioned in today's video. I am trying to lean away from my usual go-to colors, so that's why I'm knitting this sweater in beige. Well, first because I already had a yarn stash, and second because I really like it. I think it looks pretty good in this color, but I'm a little bit worried this shade is going to wash me out. Will it? I don't know. It has a yellowy undertone to this color. Maybe if I show you up close on camera, maybe you guys have a better idea of this color, but I'm still not sure if it's going to wash me out with my hair and my skin tone. At the same time, I don't know if I care that much if it's going to wash me out or not, because I really like this project and I think it's going to be just fine. Yeah, I don't know, it's just something that crossed my mind. It needs a good blocking, and I'm hoping to do this maybe even today if I can manage to finish the body on time. But now that I'm thinking about it, it would be a better idea if I blocked this before finishing the body, just make sure I have the length I am aiming for. So yeah, I think I'm going to block this today and then finish the body. But this is my Afra sweater so far, and it's time to change it up again. All right, my next WIP is a scarf. This is the Solange Scarf by Anne Ventzel. I don't know how to show you guys this project. Let me put my basket here. I've blocked this, so I think it's going to be a little bit better to show you guys, but this is my Solange scarf. Can you see the whole thing? Yeah, you can. The yarn I'm using for this project is BC Yarn by Shetland in the colorway 56. This beautiful green with a what? Yellow undertone to it. Let me show you the colorway number in case you want to see. Colorway 56. And I'm pairing it with Lana Grossa Silk Hair in the colorway 178. This beautiful, what? Moss green? Something like that. The fabric it is creating is what I would describe a perfect bottle green. Let me show you the colors. I'm really loving the fabric. After blocking the curling on the sides, there's the I-cord going on the side on each side of the scarf. So now the curling is gone. Everything looks just fine. The fabric, the stitch pattern, I mean, is kind of a ribbing situation. It's a little play with knit and purl stitches. I'm really loving the fabric. It is so soft. I think it's going to be amazing next to skin. At least when I try it on like this. I'm not getting any itchiness. I think it's going to be just fine next to skin. I already showed you guys this project, this section, but let me show you again because now it's been blocked, so I think it's better to see. The tip of this scarf, I love the way the increases are worked into the pattern. Let me see if you can you see? I hope you can. Maybe turning a little bit to the side so the light hits it a little bit better. It looks so good I'm almost ready to start the second tip. I just have around 10 or 15 centimeters to work on the straight section before I'm ready to start the tip. So maybe I will get this done and blocked over the next couple of days. I'm hopeful. I'm loving this project so far. It's so quick and easy. I think this is a wonderful gift knit. I'm certainly very much excited to have this ready to wear while it's still cold outside. I didn't want to make the same mistake I did with my through lines show that I worked on, I think February or March of 2025. I didn't block that project when I was working on it. I didn't do a mid project block. I just blocked it when it was already bound off, and it grew so much that the project is now 3 meters long. I have no idea how to style it. I have no idea how to wear a shawl that is 3 meters long. So this time around, I definitely didn't want to make the same mistake, and I stopped it, did a mid project block, and it didn't grow at all. I am sure if I hadn't stopped to do a mid project block and just blocked it once it was finished, this project would have grown a lot. But now that I did, it didn't grow at all. Well, that's a lie. It grew like 3 centimeters. So yeah, not a very significant growth. But I think I forgot to show you guys the wrong side. This is the wrong side. My needles are hitting my desk. So if you hear any noise, that's why. But this is the wrong side. I think I like the wrong side more than the right side. But I'm not really worried because this is a shawl, so I think both sides are going to be visible pretty much the entire time, especially when it comes to the tip of the shawl or scarf. Now I don't know if I said this is a Solange shawl or scarf. The name of the pattern is Solange Scarf by Anne Ventzel. That's the right name. But yeah, like I was saying, both sides are going to be visible, so I'm actually really enjoying the fact that I love the wrong side also. But this is my Solange scarf so far. I talked about wanting a matchy beanie, a matching hat. I'm still set on this idea. Let me just put it here. I'm still very much excited to have a matching hat and scarf situation. I am thinking about casting on maybe a muscle brow hat by Isolde Teague and just adding this same stitch pattern design here to the brim of the muscle brow hat, just to make it matchy-matchy. But actually, with the stitch pattern I have here with this Solange scarf, I'm thinking that maybe if I just do a stockinette hat, a regular stockinette hat, like the muscle brow hat without any changes to the stitch pattern, I think it would also match because of the columns of knit stitches on my Solange scarf. So maybe that would be even better than adding this same design to the brim of the muscle brow. I don't know. If you have any ideas, I would highly appreciate if you could leave them in the comments down below. I'm still not sure on how I want to proceed when it comes to the matching beanie. I don't know. I have no other ideas. If you have a pattern that you think would match my Solange scarf, please share them with me. I would highly appreciate also. So that's all when it comes to my works in progress for now. So I think it's time to talk about some old projects that need a little bit of extra attention now. I have a pile here with me, and the first one is my Pierre sweater. I finished this over the summer last year. I am in love with this project. This is definitely the project I am proudest of all my 2025 knits. I used one strand of Host Garn Super Soft paired with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair. My issue with this project is the sleeve length. It ended up a little bit shorter than what I like. I want to bring this back to my needles, frog the ribbing here and add maybe this much of fabric of here, and then redo the ribbing. I need to do this on both sleeves, obviously, because I want to have matching sleeve length. But yeah, I am delaying this process ever since Christmas because I wore this on Christmas and it annoyed me so much. I spent the entire day pulling my sleeve here and hugging them with my fingers because it would rise until here. It was shorter than a bracelet length sleeve. I can't stand this short sleeve situation. I need longer sleeves. This thing needs to come back to my needles and I need to add some length. I have the yarn here. I don't know if you noticed on past videos, but this yarn has been living right over there next to my little snowman because I need something to hold me accountable and make me finish and fix this sweater. So I'm not letting myself put this mohair leftover away until I bring this back to my needles. I'm saying it here in the video because I need you guys to hold me accountable because I'm not the least excited to do this. Now I need a little sip of tea because I'm talking way too much today. And my second old knit, let's say, that I need to fix is my muscle bro hat. This is the first muscle bro I worked on because I think by now I have 3 versions of the muscle bro. One was for my niece and I have these 2. Yeah, so this is the first one I worked on. I added some ribbing here, 1 by 1 rib. The other side is just stockinette because this project is reversible. I think everybody heard of the muscle bro by now, but in case you haven't, this project is a really long tube of stockinette knitted around, and you need 2 crowns and then you fold one inside the other. That way you get a reversible hat. So if I wear it like this, I have a stockinette brim, but if I wear it the other way around, I have a 1 by 1 rib. I really like the versatility of this project. What I don't like is I think I have too much negative ease with this one because ever since I finished my second one, this is all over stockinette, so both brims are stockinette. I didn't add any ribbing to this one. It's just a stockinette tube. This one has, I think, a couple of extra increase rows here when I was working on the first crown, increasing for the head circumference of my hat. So this one is a little bit bigger than my red one, and it's subtle. It's a minor difference, but it really makes the entire experience of wearing this hat so much better. Let me see if I can show you guys this. Can you see here? There's 1 or 2 fingers, maybe 2 centimeters, something like that. Yeah, there's hair here, but you wouldn't be mine if you didn't have hair on it. Yeah, my beige one is a little bit wider, but it's so much more comfortable with this extra little bit of fabric, to the point where ever since I finished my beige version, I've never worn this. My red one, I mean. Never, ever. I've wore it, 1 or 2 times right after I finished it, and then I went ahead and cast on the beige one, and the red one has been living in my drawer ever since. So yeah, this is a no-go for me. I don't want to have something that I know I don't wear. I know how to fix the issue. It's a simple enough problem to fix, so I want to bring this back to my needles. I want to frog this entire thing until till the first crown, add a couple more increase rounds and finish the hat to have the same size, the same head circumference as my beige one. So I'm talking way too much about a simple hat, but this is what I want to do. Maybe I will do this before I cast on my matching green hat. I don't know, because it would be the same pattern. Maybe I can do both at the same time. Maybe I can frog this muscle burrow, this red muscle burrow, and use the yarn for another hat pattern. I don't know. And the third and final project I need to change is something I realized when I was recording the intro for today's video. What I'm wearing today. This is the Late Summer Wrap by Penny Larson, or Knitting for Olive. This was one of my dream knits. I talked about this pattern so many times with my mom on the phone. So I was so excited when I cast it on. I bought the yarn for it. I love the yarn. It was my first time using a Knitting for Olive combo. I have this lovely, let me see if I can show you, this lovely fabric. Love the colors, love the softness of the fabric, the size, the length. Everything is fine. My issue with it, I don't wear it. Ever since I finished it, I've never worn it, which is a huge flag, a huge red flag in my mind. I was talking with a friend online the other day, and she mentioned, oh, I just watched your 2025 reflections video and your goals for 2026, which I released last week, by the way. It is linked down below and up here in case you want to check it out. I talked about, well, I divided my projects from 2025 in a few sections, like my most worn knits, the ones I am proudest of, my favorite designers, the one I reached for the most, and things like that. And I talked about some things I want to change in 2026, my loose plans for 2026, and all of that. But what she said was, oh, I thought your Late Summer Wrap was going to be in at least one of your sections for 2025, especially your proudest knits. And that got me thinking, because it not only didn't appear in any of my 2025 reflections, let's say, it didn't even cross my mind when I was looking at last year's projects and dividing them by categories. So that made a huge red flag go in my head, because, yeah, this was my most expensive project of 2025. It was a dream knit of mine. I love the fabric, I love the yarn, I love everything about it. So why don't I reach for it? I started thinking. So today I decided I was going to wear this and see where the problem is. And for that, I need to stand. So let me get the microphone, because I'm sitting here in my desk chair. I'm just going to stand, and I think the problem is going to be pretty obvious. Let me get my chair here to the side. Can you see the issue? This thing needs to be like this. But when I sit, everything goes out of place, let's say. I think the length is pretty good. I love the ease, how much ease I have with this one. I went with around 5 centimeters of positive ease. I think I have a little bit more because the front here wants to be a little bit more revealing, let's say, than what I was picturing when I was working on this. So the opening here usually sits like this. I would prefer something a little bit more like this, less revealing. I don't think it really matters that much because I always wear a t-shirt underneath, so that's fine. But I don't think I wear this because, well, one, I don't know how to style it. I don't know how to tie this thing here that ties at the waist. I don't know how to tie it in a cute and safe way to make sure it won't come undone during the day. And my second reason, and my knee just cracked. If you heard something, that was my knee. But my second issue is, or the second reason why I don't wear this, is the ties don't like to behave. You saw when I was sitting and I just stood up, it moves around. This is not a behaving garment. This sounds so ridiculous, but I need to tie here at the waist pretty tightly. Otherwise, it hangs like this. It looks baggy like this. And this is a terrible fit, in my opinion. So I need to tie it a little bit more. But when I do this, then it gets pretty uncomfortable because it's pretty tight around my waist. So I don't know how to do this when I turn around. Now I think the ties here are behaving, but usually they do something like this, which looks pretty terrible in my opinion. There's nothing wrong about the pattern, by the way. I don't want you guys to think I'm complaining about the pattern. I'm not. I just don't know how to wear this thing. So if you guys have any tips, if you ever worked on a wrap before and you could give me some tips, I would highly appreciate, because I'm not reaching for this. And I think that's why. Here on the sides, let me change hands with the microphone. On the sides here, you can see where it is. Here, sometimes one front is lower, let's say, than the other. So it creates this little gap here, showing my pants. Today I'm just wearing a pair of leggings. So it looks weird. I don't really like the fit. Anyway, my idea is, let me sit back down. My idea is, let me put the microphone here. What I'm thinking is, I want to sew everything closed. Maybe this is a crazy idea, I don't know. But what I'm thinking right now is, if I sew everything closed, then I can make sure that everything will behave. So maybe I would wear this more often, because I don't have to worry about the tie coming undone. I don't have to worry about it being too tight around my waist. I don't have to worry about, well, anything, basically, because I really like the fit of it. I just don't know how to wear this thing. So let me stand back up so you can see. If I sew this thing here closed, what I mean is I sew the two layers of fabric together, and I do the same thing on this side here, and maybe I can even sew the tie in place. That way it would never come undone. And I can sew where one side meets the front, one front, and do the same thing on this side also. That way everything would behave the entire time. Could that be a solution? I know I'm never going to wear this untied, because I don't think it would look good. These ties are pretty long, so I don't think I would ever wear this untied. So maybe if I sew everything closed, it would be what I needed to finally be able to wear this comfortably. That's an idea. If you have other ideas, please comment down below, because this is the only thing I can think of that would fix whatever is going on here. This is my idea. I don't know if I will do it or not, but I mean, I am tempted. If you have ideas, if you have suggestions, if you have comments, please leave them down below. I always appreciate your opinions. And this is all for today. I talked way too much today, but I just wanted to share with you guys all my thoughts and crazy ideas. Thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me. I will be back next week with... I have an idea brewing in my mind, and I'm really excited to let that develop a little bit more over the next week. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing, giving this video a like, and commenting down below in case you want to. I always appreciate it. It really helps the channel, and it makes me really happy, and that way you never miss a future video. And I will see you next time. Bye!